Today we're going to try something different. We're going to talk about immigration from into America and Western Europe, Western democracies that have been overrun by immigrants that come from vastly different cultures, many of which are incompatible with the West. And so what we're going to do is, there's been a recent movie, it's called Citizen Vigilante. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's, the video talks about an American vigilante in Germany who has gotten tired of the people who are from the countries, westernized democratic countries, being victimized by the guests, the immigrants, and the politicians, the media that doesn't have the spine to address it, to acknowledge it, because it makes them look bad, right? Because nobody ever voted on these on this migration, this allowing of millions upon millions of people to flood into America. I think it started in Western Europe around 2015 with the what was it called, the Urban Spring. And when that was happening, I was like, boy, this is not good. This is not going to end well. This is when all those migrant rafts was floating from Syria into Italy. And there was that picture of that little baby that was drowned, dead on the beach. Heartbreaking shit. At the same time, you had ISIS carrying out terrorist attacks. There was a huge one in Paris at the Bataclan Theater. There was a band called the Eagles of Death Metal that were playing, and you had 4 or 5 of these fuckers go in. Everybody was trapped, and they just completely lit everybody up with AK-47s. I think there was a bomb that went off, killed 20 girls at an Ariana Grande concert at like some stadium, in France, like a soccer stadium or whatever, killed there. And so when you put, you know, the problem with people that talk about multiculturalism as a strength don't understand that means that the immigrating people are willing to assimilate, right? And they bring with them their different different customs, but they assimilate into like a melting pot where everybody respects everybody. And when you're talking about like trying to assimilate fundamentalist Muslims, that their very own religion talks about wanting to convert the non-believers, if I think it's called by word or by sword or something. Like fundamentally, that doesn't even make sense, because it means that they're not respecting your religious differences, right?
Bad ideas never seem to die. Multiculturalism is one of them. Wait a second, I can hear you saying, multiculturalism is a beautiful idea. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, would agree with you. He never tires of saying that diversity is our greatest strength. In Australia, people from all sides of the political spectrum talk proudly of being the most successful multicultural society in the world. In Europe and the US, we are told to celebrate multiculturalism, or else be branded a xenophobe, a racist, or both. And what, after all, is the problem with a society made up of different people all coming together to pull in the same direction? The answer is nothing. But that's not what multiculturalism means. It's not at all about pulling in the same direction. Multiculturalism is about people coming to the West and forming their own communities with their own rules and practices. In the eyes of multiculturalists, e pluribus unum, out of many one, the great goal of America, and until now the great achievement of America, is just another form of colonialism. It imposes American and Western values on the non-Western immigrants who come here. Immigrants, therefore, need to cling to the cultures of the countries from which they came and stay separate. Instead of e pluribus unum, the multiculturalists advocate for e pluribus pluribus, out of many, many. It's true that we live in multi-ethnic societies, that is, societies that are home to people from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, and that can bring huge benefits. Talented immigrants come to the West to open businesses, pay taxes, and start families. The founder of NVIDIA is from Taiwan. The CEO of Microsoft is from India. Elon Musk is from South Africa. But multiculturalism is the exact opposite of this multi-ethnic merging, the e pluribus unum idea. It's about encouraging immigrants not to merge. American liberals have always looked to Sweden as the kind of society they want America to emulate. Crime-free with a generous welfare system, free healthcare, and free college education. But that Sweden was a cohesive society based on shared values, one language, and social solidarity. No longer. Today, the Swedish dream looks more like a Swedish nightmare. Over 2 million of Sweden's 10 million people are now foreign-born, more than double the number in 2000. This experiment has not gone well. Sweden now has the highest rate of gang killings in Europe. Several areas are officially classified as especially vulnerable, meaning areas where it is very difficult for the police to operate. The governor of the Bank of Sweden told the Financial Times the growing crime problem is so serious it risks damaging the country's long-term economic growth. The problem is not confined to Sweden. All over Europe, crime is up sharply. One of the primary reasons is multiculturalism. In Britain, hundreds of thousands of young women and girls have suffered horribly at the hands of so-called grooming gangs, groups of men from ethnic minority backgrounds who target vulnerable girls for sexual abuse. When this abuse is reported to the authorities, instead of bringing the perpetrators to justice, these crimes are covered up by social workers, police officers, and the local government officials who are afraid of being called racist. The only way multi-ethnic societies can work is if we all play by the same rules and live by the same basic moral values. People like me, who come from other places, must be encouraged to assimilate. Immigrants must learn the language, adapt to local customs, and become full citizens with both rights and responsibilities. The onus should be on the immigrant, not the host country. At my doctor's office in East London, I regularly encounter paperwork that's been translated into a dozen languages. That's not what assimilation looks like. When I first moved to England, my parents discovered that I had made friends with other Russian-speaking kids at my school. Well, they said, if that carries on, we'll have to find you a new school. You didn't come here to be a Russian in Britain, they explained. You came here to be British. Does what I'm saying sound controversial? If it does, you might be surprised to hear that the former German Chancellor Angela Merkel admitted this truth back in 2010 when she said, multiculturalism has utterly failed. A year later, former British Prime Minister David Cameron said the same thing. So did former French President Nicolas Sarkozy and former Spanish President José María Aznar. Multiculturalism has failed in Europe not because we did it badly, but because it's a bad idea. It will fail in the US for the same reason. We either stand as one nation, united by a common purpose and common values, or we fall as competing tribes. Diversity is not our greatest strength. Unity is. I'm Konstantin Kisin, co-host of the Trigonometry podcast.
And so anyway, I want to play the final two scenes in Citizen Vigilante. The only problem is I don't want this video to be taken down because of copyright, so I had a plan. I am going to use my incredible acting skills, and I am going to I googled the transcript. I am going to read the transcript of the and I'm going to read all the parts because I couldn't hire any actors to join me. And I am going to read the part of, there's basically, the final two scenes are a Muslim family. The son has been convicted, or not convicted of rape. He has been acquitted because of the trauma of immigrating to a new country or some bullshit, woke legal ruling that allowed him and his 7 rapist buddies to go free after raping a 14-year-old girl. and it's like the family and how they, even the sister, they view Western women as being like whores wearing mini skirts and whatnot. So I'm going to read that scene, and his name is Armie Hammer is the actor, and he confronts his family, and you'll find out what happens next. I might shoot in like very, very quick screenshots or video sort of shots of the scene I'm describing or I'm reading. As we'll see how my editing skills can. When I had the idea for this video, my first thought was, man, that would be cool if I could sort of juxtapose the real movie and me reading it. So there's not enough or materials for it to be copyright stricken or stroked or whatever. And so there's that, and then there's a couple other topics that I want to talk about. And I'm going to try to make this fast. I'm not going to try to make it like an hour and 20-minute video. So here we go. And I have a little something prepared. I wanted to keep this sort of on track. AI didn't help me write this. This is all from me. My words, my thoughts. I've been heavily into politics my entire life. I went to University of Arizona. I have a master's degree in political science. I've worked on different senatorial candidates, especially in the mid-90s. Lost by 57 votes, I think, to a dude named John Kyle. I was working for Richard Mahoney, who was anyway, doesn't matter. But his father was an ambassador to John F. Kennedy. He was the ambassador to Ghana, which is an African country, ironically enough. But Mahoney was sort of like a single party animal, good-looking dude, like a George Clooney type, and he was fiscally conservative. He was a Secretary of State in Arizona. He had been married to this news anchor called Mary Jo West, who was like this hottie, the most famous news anchor in the 80s in Arizona. And he got divorced. He had his new girlfriend's son was like a professional football player, played for the Giants. He and I were basically the entire campaign staff, and we drove around Arizona, going with Richard to these speaking events, putting up signs, doing all kinds of campaign shit. And we narrowly missed. Again, he was fiscally conservative. So he did things like cut out frank mailing, which is like free mailing for government state officials. He cut out frank mailing. He cut out the state airplane. So they drove. Arizona's not so big that you can't drive across the state. But he was like socially liberal, right? So he was like for women's reproductive freedoms, how they like to call that, or healthcare, whatever it is, and some of those other things, pro-gay marriage and shit. And at the time, I was fine with all that, and in a sort of way, I still am. I think the most important thing is immigration, and reining in fraud and overspending. But I have become far stronger in my pro-life position, my beliefs, my perspective, based on growing up, based on developing compassion and empathy for the unborn. And the older you get, the more you realize, like, these are not bundles of cells or the propaganda that the liberals will tell you about. I have a hard time with people being irresponsible, not using, like birth control, and then having abortions later. I also have big problems with people who can't get their shit together and have an abortion like very early in the pregnancy. And so they wind up having these late-term abortions. It's like, get your shit together, dude. Like, if you want to have an abortion, at least do it when the kid's not, like, sucking its thumb and, like, listening to music and tapping their feet, and you know what I mean. Okay, so here we go. People assume that multiculturalism is a good thing because everyone mistakenly assumes it means that you have to respect another's cultures, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that at all. We should all respect one another's cultures. That should be a starting point for a decent and civilized society. But when one group of religious people believe that their religious doctrine requires that their followers convert non-believers, kuffar, to their very specific set of religious beliefs and customs, by its very nature, that's not respecting other people's cultures when you're actively trying to change them into your version of what you think is a proper person, right? When progressives say multiculturalism is a strength, they mean something quite different. It says that no culture is morally or intellectually superior to any other culture. So it follows that those living in Western democracies can't uphold the West against any other culture. You can't say that Western core values are better than any other culture, for example, Middle Eastern culture, because the misunderstanding, especially by progressive liberals, is that not only is Western culture oppressive and immoral, but that it treats Islamic culture unequally and is therefore inferior. Even when Western civilization supports equal rights for women and free speech, because it opposes the Islamic traditions towards women, it's Muslims that are the victims and not the women that they actually treat as second-class citizens and as property, owned by the men that they marry. As a result, you can't uphold things like democracy, one law for all, freedom of expression, equal rights for women, tolerance of minorities. You can't uphold any of that because progressive liberals interpret those superior core values of Western culture, which is morally superior, as being oppressive, racist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, all the words. Even as it's Western Christian culture that supports equal rights for women, free speech, freedom of religious association, etc. Because progressives label that as colonization and therefore immoral and wrong. It's nonsense, and it's a recipe for cultural suicide. So a multicultural society destroys itself. It destroys community cohesion. It sets up tribal enclaves which are all fighting each other for power and supremacy. And that's the way our culture actually dies. And if you have the courage to point out the hypocrisy of progressive liberalism, you are immediately labeled as a far-right white supremacist by those who conflate our own democratic Western culture and core values with whiteness and white supremacy. You get white guilt progressivism culture supported by those woke, politically correct leftist Westerners who wish to see their own downfall, along with the anti-West Islamist culture that has come to America as a guest yet resists assimilation and adopting our Western core values because they feel they're required by Muhammad to convert non-believers through word or by sword, in quotation marks, to change how we do things here in our country, oftentimes things that have failed miserably at their home, which is why they're here in the first place. Both of whom, Western liberal progressivism and Islamist fundamentalism, both of which are totally incompatible with America's democratic Western culture. The Islamist guests are hostile to our own culture, while the American-born progressive liberals are supporting their own cultural suicide.
Raise the issue in this conversation, but also in the book, of multiculturalism. You make the point that, of course, you can have multiracial societies, but you can't have multicultural societies that are going to work if the host culture believes itself to be inadequate, weak, poisonous, disastrous, not worthy of defending.
Well, this is the point about multiculturalism. Again, it's a phrase, it's a term which is more misunderstood than understood. And people assume that multiculturalism is a good thing because what it means is that you have to respect other cultures. Well, it doesn't mean that. We should all respect other cultures. That should be a starting point for a decent and civilized society. Multiculturalism says something quite different. It says that no culture is morally superior or intellectually superior to any other culture. So it follows that you can't uphold the West against any other culture. You can't say that Western core values are better than any other. As a result, you can't uphold things like democracy, one law for all, freedom of expression, equality for women, tolerance of minorities. You can't uphold any of that. It's a nonsense, and it's a recipe for cultural suicide. So a multicultural society, I say in terms, is a contradiction in terms. Multiculturalism destroys a society. It destroys community cohesion. It sets up a kind of balkanized, tribal set of tribal enclaves which are all fighting each other for power and supremacy. And that's the way our culture actually dies.
On October 22nd, 2025, Irina Zarutska, a 23-year-old Ukrainian woman, was killed at the East-West Boulevard station on the Lynx Blue Line in Charlotte, North Carolina. Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee who had fled her country because of the Russian invasion, was fatally stabbed from behind while seated on the train. The suspect, DeCarlo Dewan Brown Jr., was arrested upon exiting the train and charged with first-degree murder. He was deemed incompetent to stand trial on state and federal charges.
Train stabbing. Caroline.
Yeah, John. So we're going through those court records right now, and we just learned that the suspect in this case is an illegal migrant. Police say that he forced his way onto the train last night, took out a knife, and then stabbed one of the passengers. Court records say he was pretty much starting problems as soon as he got on the train. He started yelling at everyone and then started picking a fight with the victim. Police say that's when he pulled out a large fixed-bladed knife and stabbed someone on the train. EMS got the victim to the hospital, and they say he's in critical but stable condition.
My husband missed that train by, one stop and didn't get on there, and that's crazy. We should not have to feel like we are one stroke of bad luck away from being the next victim.
Now, this happened about 3 months after Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska was killed on the Charlotte light rail in a random attack. Her attacker, DeCarlos Brown, had a long rap sheet and struggled from mental health issues. And now officials are calling out the Charlotte mayor after yet another violent attack. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said, quote, "Apparently the death of Irina Zarutska was not enough. What is it going to take for the Charlotte mayor to remove violent criminals off the streets and protect her constituents? The time to act is now." As for the suspect, court records say he's not getting out of jail anytime soon. 33-year-old Oscar Solorzano is being held without bond because he, quote, is an illegal and has been deported previously, and we're told he's expected back in court on Monday. John.
DeCarlos Dewan Brown Jr., the 34-year-old suspect, born October 1st, 1990, had been arrested 14 times in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, before the stabbing, with criminal charges dating back to 2007. He was convicted of breaking and entering. While on probation, he was arrested for armed robbery and possession of a firearm by a felon. Brown was convicted of armed robbery and incarcerated in state prison from 2015 to September 2020. Take one and only one. Knocking at the door. Doorbell chimes, ding dong, conversing in Arabic inside the family of Yusuf. Door opens. Hello, Abraham. Blessings to you and your family. I was wondering if we could have a quick chat about your son. Are you a journalist? No, I'm just a citizen here to help. If you want something, you can go to our lawyer. We don't have nothing to say. Sorry. Maybe we have just a little chat. Gun clicks. Click. He pushes this father through the door, right? Pushes him back into the room where they're having dinner. Back. Door slams. Click. Gasps. Oh, good. Yusuf's here. Relax. Go. Hello, Yusuf. Yusuf, run. Where are they going to go? Quick. No, stop. Gunshot. Pow. Screaming. Ah! Shrieking. Eee! What are you doing? Yusuf, honey. Oh, Yusuf. Go tend to your son. Tie something around his leg. I didn't hit an artery. He should be fine. You. Get the cell phones. He points to his sister, Yusuf's sister, their daughter. You. Get the cell phones. Off the table, talking to his older sister. All of them. Pick them up. Move Yusuf to the couch. Over to the couch. Cell phones down on the table. What do you want from us? Face down on the table. I want you to have a seat. And we're going to have a little chat. What are you doing? Have a seat. Have a seat. Sit. The father refuses to sit. 3, 2. Father sits. Smart man. You are strong. Don't worry. So I guess you're wondering why I'm here, huh? Shouting, screaming, Yusuf, you shot his leg. You are here because of my son, because of the court. Mm-hmm. The court that freed him, and it is the court from your country. Of course. Because of your son and his friends had to rape that 14-year-old girl, screaming, struggling, grunts. They're so traumatized from their childhood that they couldn't keep their... Oh, wait, that's sorry. This is the vigilante. Oh, they're so traumatized from their childhood that they couldn't keep their dicks in their pants. But he's young. He don't know nothing. Is that why you did it, Yusuf? I'm sorry. I'm sorry we did that. We thought she wanted it. Sister and mom screaming. You thought that she wanted you to grab her and pull her into a bush in a quiet part of the park, grunting. That she wanted you to put your hand over her mouth while you and your 7 friends took turns raping her. She had to crawl out of those bushes on her hands and knees, and now she lives every single day afraid of what you and your friends might do since you were acquitted. That was very good work by your attorney, by the way, pointing them as the victim. What was it? Traumatic integration? We're all getting mental help now and support. We will be better in the future. I promise that. Oh, that's the right answer. The only problem is that on your, he points to the sister, he points his gun to the sister, on your social media, since the event, I've not seen any regret, groaning, or empathy. In fact, I think you said that she deserved to be raped. What I mean is that they dress wrong and just make boys horny with their miniskirts. They show their legs and breasts. You wrote that she deserved it. I will delete it. Are these the values, pointing at the father, are these the values that you're teaching your children? I teach them the values of Quran and the values from our family. Well, if these are your values, that women in America and Europe deserve to be raped because of a dress code, why did you come here? You know that we have several Oh, why did you come here? You know that we have several wars in our country, or several civil wars in our country, and we have a dangerous life. That's why we are here. And I think you know that. Do you know what I think? What? I don't think it was the good ones that got out of your country. I think it was the bad ones. And I think you brought with you and your archaic value system and your commitment to religion over democracy and over anything else, including the rule of law. Yusuf, you're going to pick up your phone. You're going to start calling your friends one by one and telling them to come over here right now, that you have new information for them. No. Yes, you will. And what are you going to do with them? Oh, we're just going to have a little chat. Same as we're having right now. I will not call them. No? Interesting. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yusuf, call them right now. Call. Dialing cell phone. Thank you. He nods at the father. Thank you. Phone rings. Hey, Abdul, it's me. You need to come over here right now. We could get charged again. We have a problem. I'm here with my attorney. And bring your brother and call Idris. No, right now. Tense music. Good job, Yusuf. Now call the next one. Doorbell rings. Father gets up to get it. Nope. Sit. You, points at the sister. You, go get the door. No funny business. Or I shoot mom. Go. Okay. Whimpering. Opens the door. What's wrong? Come. What the fuck happened? What's wrong? As they walk into the room and see... what's wrong? They looked at Armie Hammer. Clack. Clack. Screaming. Points to Dad. Clack, clack. Points to Yusuf, the rapist. Clack, clack. Points to Mom. Clack, clack. Points to the sister. 3 in the chest. Clack, clack, clack. Bye-bye, rapists. Gunshots, screaming, gunshots, screaming, gunshots. Soft hearing music. Doorbell rings. Suspenseful music. Here's here's the protagonist. I think Sanders is his name. He comes to the door. Hello. Hello. Come in. Come on. Go. He has his gun behind his back. Go. Go in. They walk in. They see a room full of dead people. A dead family and his 2 co-defendant rapist buddies and Yusuf. It's okay. What the hell? Go in. What the hell? Everything's okay. Gunshots. Boom. 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 2 or 3 each in the chest. Grunting. Okay. Again. Doorbell rings. This time he gets behind the door. They both walk in. And they see... And they see a room full of dead people. And as they walk in, he clocks them off, each in the back of the head. Boom. Boom. Dead rapist. Hello, Chief Henry. I'm very happy you survived. I should be saying this in a German accent, but I can't summons my German accent. I'm very happy you survived, says the protagonist American vigilante, the citizen vigilante, because I have a message for you to take to the government. What is this message? It's the same message I told you when you tried to storm my bunker, that the people will not accept a takeover. What are you attempting here? You cannot be allowed to continue this mayhem. You see, as much as I love Europe and its deep history, you simply cannot continue. My officers and I, we swore an unbreakable pledge to protect and serve, and you now have crossed the line too many times. You're hurting innocent people, including myself. This is unacceptable. I have no choice but to bring you in, and I will. These people you speak of, they never voted for what's happening. This is an unfriendly takeover by the Islamist extremists and blindsided woke left. And if this takeover is successful, it'll destroy the democracy you say you love, all the freedom, everything you enjoy and stand for. There's only one option. You end this, or we the people will end it ourselves. Now take this message. I remind you, my oath, my job is part of the stability of this democracy you speak of, and you overestimate my capabilities of delivering this message. I don't think so, Chief. After all, you're the only one with a message. Because everybody's dead. He's killed everybody but the Chief now. After all, you're the only one with the message. Now take it to them. They will listen. Tense music cuts to the media breaking news. 3 judges have recently died under circumstances initially ruled as suicide. Though their timing appears highly suspicious, 2 days yet another judge was discovered dead in their car. On the outskirts of the city, authorities are now investigating what they consider to be a series of murders rather than coincidences. Solemn music. Interpol investigator Henry Evo. Write down this number. Then call my superior. This is the Henry. Interpol's Chief Henry again. Interpol investigator Henry Evo. Write down this number. Then call my superior. I need to speak to the Prime Minister. If she won't talk to me, you find every member of the press. You bring them to me. Yes, sir. Beeps. Now, this is the, let me see something that raises pressing questions. Okay, so now this is back to the, think of it as the BBC, right? And Henry just told his, he called somebody, he said, get me on the Prime Minister. She won't talk to me. Find every member of the press. You bring them to me. Yes, sir. Okay, now it's back to this BBC. All individuals implicated in the recent gang rape case who avoided prison sentences are now dead, including the entire family of Yusuf al-Sharara, who resided there. It appears the vigilante citizen has struck again. This raises pressing questions. What possesses the greater threat to society? The criminals continuing these heinous acts or the vigilante who is eliminating them? According to Europe's criminal statistics, over 105,000 violent crimes were attributed to migrants last year, including 980 murders and over 18,000 reported cases of sexual assault involving immigrants from Africa and the Middle East. What does this mean for our legal system? Is this vigilante only stepping in because our system has failed to ensure safety and justice for the public? Stay safe out there, and thank you for watching World News. Majestic music, static crackles. Okay, and now here the vigilante comes with a pixelated face onto the screen for the final second or minute of the movie. And I might splice in his voice as I say this part. Or I might splice in his video while my voice comes in, so we'll trick YouTube doing that. I'm here to help you take that control back. I'm here to show you that you are no longer the victims. I'm here to show you that it's time to go out and show these fucks that they aren't getting away with this anymore. Remember, I do this for you until you learn to do it for yourselves. And that is the movie. It's a movie that 5 years ago, it would have been unthinkable to even say. Remember when the Democrats were saying, we don't call them illegal. No human is illegal. Remember all that fucking bullshit? And now we're openly calling this out. People are sick of it. People are sick of people getting murdered, getting raped, and our own government's trying to cover it up and wash it away because they're responsible for it. And they don't want to have to deal with it because that means losing elections and losing power. And so fuck them. And so that's it. That's the video. Now I'm going to go edit in all the different little edits and then see what we got. And I will see you on the YouTubes. Take care. I appreciate it. Later. Oh, like and subscribe.